would that even end up there? I just don't even know. I mean, so to me, that was kind of creepy with a question of like, WTF, like how did that end up there in that spot?
Right. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have like a repulsion of teeth anyway, finding teeth out in the, I find them in the dump, but it's been, the dump is relatively old, the 1880s, 1860s, and they didn't have dentists that were readily available, and they'd yank them and throw them away. So I'm like, all right. And then dentures, you'll find the mold that has like one or two teeth left on it, and you're like, what the heck? And then you start finding the teeth around, and it's like, oh, okay, no roots on these. They must have been part of the denture. So yeah, that makes sense.
I know those are creepy, but I still enjoy finding them. I know that's weird, but I do. I'm always finding something like that. And I know I've been with Amanda several times when we were mudlarking and dumping, and we've, both found stuff like that. But I'm one of those weirdos, too, that I collect the horse teeth and the other types of teeth. I don't know what it is. I know that's weird. Sorry.
So that's the great thing about this hobby, too, is that there's always something weird to find, right? There's always something that you've never seen or that you didn't know existed, until you found one.
Yeah, it's sad. My list keeps growing. I'm like, what is that? Oh, add it to my list. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Oh, add it to the list. I hope to find someday. Let's see. Did we ask what machine you're using currently?
Yeah, F75
okay.
Currently. Yeah, Fisher F75.
Nice, Fisher. Fantastic.
Yep.
Wanted to make sure I covered that just in case.
Sorry, I'm not in chat tonight. I didn't know if we had any questions.
I'm waiting. I just re-asked if anybody had any questions. If you are in chat, Victoria says that you, Buckleboy, probably have most of the white whales that we're all hoping to find.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, there's still a bunch left, and it's funny because I just posted that cast brass piece and I just said, "Show me your sexy iron," hoping that people would post something besides just cannonballs, because there are those people that are just going to fill us up with artillery. So I just said, show us anything that's really awesome besides a cannonball. And some of those things have ended up on my list. So pretty amazing things.
Funny.
Let's see. Go ahead.
We usually end with some kind of crazy questions, but I didn't know, are we still going to have those questions tonight, Amanda? Or?
Yeah, if we get to it, I don't see why not. We do have a question in chat for Buckleboy. John, FLX Detectorist, would like to know, do you go to any digging events?
I don't. It's weird. I've been the type of person that's kind of I value my privacy a lot, and part of it's because I'm just that kind of person, but part of it's also because I just don't see any reason to do that. So I don't even, like, for example, I don't show my face often in my videos, or it's that type of thing. And so I enjoy being with the community online. But, in general, and I have done in the past a couple of things, it was years ago, where I went to an in-person event, and I'm not even sure if these events, there was one in Kentucky and one in Virginia, I don't even know that they still survive. I don't think that they even happen anymore. I think the organizers just moved on. But from back in the 90s and early 2000s. But I just didn't feel it was interesting to me, but it kind of left me thinking, well, maybe I should have just kind of stayed home and found a spot, or dug with my wife or something, And so I just tend to be a little more private, and I'm not antisocial. I just appear that way. So sorry, John. I don't normally go to those types of events. I'm not ruling it out. It's just kind of not my scene.
Understandable. And then for those that are listening that might not see the show right up the description, how can people follow along on your adventures through social media?
Yeah, great question. So Buckleboy on Instagram. I haven't been as religious as I was for a while. I guess about 5,000 followers on Instagram or so. Then I have, of course, the YouTube, and I bring out a new video every Friday evening on a part of a video lineup called I Dig Fridays, which is a bunch of different creators back to back to back, and you can actually just be in one, and it'll suck you into the next video and into the next and into the next. So it's kind of nice to see people and meet people and new creators and new treasure hunters that way. And so every Friday night I come out with a new video. Sometimes I do some finds cleaning videos midweek or on weekends additionally that are just for the purpose of like live finds cleaning of like, hey, I'm going to clean some finds and I'm going to ID them as I go and talk about cleaning methods and what things are that are there in my, junk bins and so forth. And then last of all, Buckleboy LA on Facebook for Louisiana. And you can connect with me that way. And please do reach out with any questions about relic IDs. I'm happy to help. And I spend a lot of time answering messages on Facebook about relic identification.
Fantastic. And actually, Tim Ildigger in chat wants to thank you for IDing a black glass button that he found that he sent to you. And you helped ID. So.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ildigger. Yeah, Tim, great.
All right. Gypsy, you ready to get into those other questions?
Well, yeah, sure, we can. But before we do, I was just curious. You mentioned earlier that, your wife had found that Morgan silver dollar. Have you found a Morgan? I know you said you finally found your... Yeah,
I've got two. I've found two Morgans over the years. The first one I found was in 1993. 93. I think it was 93. And it was at a sawmill site. And I think that they must have paid them $1 a day or $1.50 a day for their wages. I just kind of gleaned that from digging. I dug a hole. I found a barber $50.
Wow.
Didn't recheck the hole, and I was way up in the middle of the woods. There was like just some scattered iron and stuff, and it was a sawmill site, and that I had tracked down. And so I dug a barber half, and then I was so excited about that I didn't even recheck the hole. Then I go off, and then an hour later I pass back over the hole again, and it blew my ears off again. And it was a Morgan dollar in the same hole. So I think somebody lost their whole wage that day, out at that site. Yeah. And then the second Morgan that I found was actually, it was a 1900 Morgan, and I found it as it was an eyeball find. And it had washed out of the soil. It was sitting up on a little pillar of dirt. And if you are on my Instagram, if you can scroll down enough, you'll be able to see that coin just perched on a pillar of dirt where it had washed out. And I swung over it the first time, and I thought that's going to be a Mardi Gras doubloon. And I kind of swung over it because the sweat was in my eyes. It was the middle of summer. And I was like, holy cow, it reads 91. And I bent down, and I was like, oh, my God. I'm staring right at the Morgan dollar that's just laying on the surface of the ground. So that was my second one.
Yeah, I can imagine living in Louisiana, you probably find a lot of those Mardi Gras parade tokens. When I used to live in Gallant, I found those all the time.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Amanda, you want to ask the first one, or you want me to?
No, you can go to town. Yeah.
All right. So, okay, Buckleboy, if you could detect anywhere in the world with no restrictions, where would that be?
There is a spot where there was a local fair that was in the 1800s that was about 60 or 75 years that they had it every year. And I know that it was there. I know which field it was in, and I know that it hasn't been dug. And the just on the other side of the fence, and I know this because the property owner told me no. And just on the other side of the fence, I went to other property owners around, and I found handfuls of coins on the other side of the fence. And so I know what field it was in, and I got turned down for that site. And I'd like to dig there. They would always do the catch the greased pig, and they would have a $1 gold piece as the prize for the catch the greased pig every year.
Your gold coin
so I'm like,
there.
there has to be one of those lost somewhere, right? But I think I would like to dig there with no restrictions, from the owner that was just such a mean person. Yeah.
Going to change hands before too long.
Yeah. I was like, are you keeping an eye on the real estate market for it?
I am. There's a couple of spots that I have been turned down for over the years, and I'm definitely keeping track of those. One of those spots was a story that, and this will blow some people's minds. There was when I was very young, there was a woman who was probably 90, almost 90, and she was in a nursing home, and she had told me a story about how when she was a kid that FDR had outlawed the gold. And she said that her folks had several gold coins, and they put them in a little leather sack, a leather poke, and she played with them out under the trees in their front yard. And that eventually there weren't any gold coins in the poke anymore. And
they're all up under the tree.
The grandkids own that property, and I have asked them, and they've said no. And so one day that yard, I don't think they know what's there. And so one day that yard, and the house is not that old, it's maybe built in 1910 or so. But at some point, hopefully that will change hands, and I would love to dig that yard.
There's all of your gold coins right there, all in one yard.
Yeah. I mean, those who know me know that I'm usually after a specific site, and so it's hard to get that out of your head. I'm kind of like a hound dog with a scent. Once I think that there's something there, then I keep kind of gravitating back. So I won't forget, but it's just like sometimes just the way things happen that you can't get permission to do what you want to do when you want to. So.
Right. Well, don't give up on those properties that you want to hunt, because I was talking to a friend the other day that he's from Louisiana. He lives in Texas now, and we text from time to time together. And he was telling me about one of those properties where I guess a big battle happened, and him and a friend of his had pulled up and asked the lady, and of course she said no. And then they looked at each other as they were driving away, and they were like, well, she can't live forever. And then sure enough, years later, they went back to that property and had just bukus of all kinds of amazing finds. So. Yeah. Awesome. Now I'm going to be dreaming about gold coins.
You and me both.
Well, thank you so much for joining our show tonight. I think we'll skip out on the superpower unless you have an answer right off the top of your head.
Oh, Superman, the X-ray vision. You can just look into the ground and see the coins. Right. Come on.
Fantastic.
And know exactly where to go and fly and find those, too, would be amazing, especially all those gold coins.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well,
thanks again, Buckleboy. It's been a pleasure having you on and hearing all your stories. And I know Amanda and I we cannot wait, as well as some of our listeners now that we've heard about your book. Hopefully it'll be before the end of the year, though, and not next year. But best of luck to you in any of that. Hats off to you. I can only imagine how much hard work that is.
Thank you so much, Gypsy. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.